Hello everyone, it's Thursday and it's time to plant. So if you have all the materials you need to plant, awesome. If not, you can put me on pause, get your materials, and then come back to me and play this video. All right, so I have some exciting news. Last week we planted herbs. So last week we planted basil, we planted onions. Onions aren't really an herb, but we planted them. Dill. Dill is an herb. And parsley. So I wanted to show you something very, very exciting. Last week we used an egg crate, as you can see. And if you look very, very carefully, I'm going to tilt the camera. Do you see the little green sprouts that are coming up? It's one right next to the white piece of fertilizer, and then there's a higher sprout. Now that is basil. The sprouts that are coming up are basil, and that's what basil looks like. And we use basil to put in sauces. Some people use it for soup. So what we're going to do is, I did just water this, but we're going to put a little bit more water because our seeds need water, not too much. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water. Can you see that? Let me put it a little closer. That should be fine. And then, as you can see, this room is very sunny. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the sunlight. Okay, now I have another tray. We're not going to fill this today. I just want to do a couple of rows. And what I would like to do is plant some fruits. So let's see. I have asparagus. I have sweet corn. I have cantaloupe. And I have watermelon. Can you point to the fruits? Which one, there's two actually, 2 of the 4 are fruits. Which ones do you think are fruits? Can you find them? The 2 top are fruits, cantaloupe and watermelon. So that's what we're going to be using today to plant. We're going to plant cantaloupe and watermelon. We're going to plant the sweet corn and asparagus another day, probably next Thursday. So the first thing I need to do is I need to fill these with dirt, soil. We call it soil. And I have some soil here, and I'm going to tilt the camera. Thank you for being very patient so you can see. And I'm just going to fill these. It gets messy, so I'm going to fill them with soil. All right, here we go. Looks good. Doesn't have to be perfect. And any extra soil I have, I can put in the other ones. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to open up my packet of watermelon. I'm going to be very careful. Let's see, how big are these watermelon seeds? Oh, they're big. Just like regular watermelon seeds. So, when you have watermelon, you can, instead of spitting the seeds out, you can dry them out. Can everybody see that? And we're going to take these watermelon seeds and we're going to push them in just a little bit. Cover it up. You know what? This whole row is going to be watermelon. Actually, I might do 2 rows of watermelon. I need a little bit more dirt, so I'm going to steal it from this one. I think I'm going to have just enough. That's awesome. I am. I have one left over, so I'm going to put 2 seeds in this last one. I have some soil, and I'm going to cover it. Now, what do I need to do? I have my seeds. I put them in the soil. Now, what do I need to do? What do you think? I need to give it some water, right? So I'm going to be careful not to put too much water. Just a little bit of water to moisten the soil. We hopefully will have a really nice garden. Okay, so that is the watermelon. All right, so I'm going to put this right here so I know that these 2 rows are watermelon. All right. Now, we're going to start the process again, and I'm going to do these 2 rows, okay? So what I need is my soil. And I'm just using a regular flower pot that I had to scoop the soil. And I'm going to put the soil in the tray, doing the best I can to cover these holes without making too much of a mess. I have a vacuum cleaner, so that's fine. All right, so looks good. That looks great. So we talked about asparagus and we talked about cantaloupe. Which one is the fruit? Is it the asparagus or is it the cantaloupe? Touch. If you guessed the cantaloupe, you are correct. The cantaloupe is a fruit. So I'm going to tear this very carefully. And let's see what these seeds, how big these are. Now the watermelon seeds were big. Let's see the cantaloupe seeds. All right, they're not too big, but they're big. Not as big as the watermelon seeds, but they're big. Can everyone see? Let me see if I can. There you have it. Okay, so these 2 rows are the cantaloupe. So I'm going to push it down, not too far. And just push it down so that the soil is just slightly covering it. Let's see if we have any left over. Take some from here. You don't want to push them down too far. Just barely covering them. There you have it. We're going to have some left over. So I'm only putting 1 seed in each. All right, looks good. How many seeds do I have left? Can you count them? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 left. So I'm going to put them back in here. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I do this all the time. I'm actually going to put them in here in case the seeds don't take. Double my chances. All right, good. Now I can see these seeds, so I'm just going to cover them just a little bit. All right. Now, what's the next step? I put my soil in. I put my seeds in. Now the last step is to put some water on them. Now, am I going to use a lot of water or just a little bit? I'm going to use a little bit of water. Very careful. because I don't want to oversaturate the soil. What does that word saturate mean? When you saturate something, you make it very, you use a lot of something. If it's saturated in something, you use a lot of something. So I don't want to use too much water. I don't want the soil to get too watery. So I have watermelon in these 2 rows and cantaloupe in these 2 rows. And now, as you can see, the sun's coming out. So I'm going to take this tray and I am going to push it into the sun. And we will check it next week. Next week, I would like to grow some vegetables. So I have some corn, I have green beans, and I have asparagus, which are really, really good for you. And I have a cucumber. So cucumbers, people don't know if it's a vegetable. Some people think it's a vegetable. Some people think it's a fruit. Same thing with tomatoes. But we can grow these, and I'll see if I can get some tomato seeds to grow. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I have spinach. We can do spinach too. So next week we're going to grow vegetables, and we're going to grow probably like 4. So if you have more things to plant, maybe you can go, well, you don't need to get a tray. You can get one of these trays. They're about $5, or you can just use egg crates. Recyclable egg crates. All right. It was great spending this time with you, and I will see you soon. Bye.